Today I will be attempting to, well, let's just say walk right in front of a Tesla Model S yet again. I did this a little while ago. We were testing the summons features that Tesla recently or fairly recently released, along with testing Autopilot and how it would respond to a human interaction, like, you know, walking in front of it or just even just standing there. And the summons tests all worked, as you can possibly imagine, flawlessly. The Autopilot tests, however, when I walked in front of the vehicle, didn't really do anything to stop itself, and however, the vehicle did alert, or who was driving did alert the driver, and but it didn't do anything to stop or move around or anything like that. So apparently, well, who I tested that with would be Chris, KmanAuto. Most of you know him, and of course, his video got like over 500,000 views, like instantly. Me, I have like a couple thousand, if that. I'm like, gosh, damn it, man. But apparently it stirred up enough attention, and I guess not necessarily problems, but stirred up enough, attention and problems that Tesla saw it, and I'm assuming Elon and all them high-ups at Tesla saw it, and everybody apparently got pissed. But that's the story. That's just rumors. I don't know what truly happened, but it was just positive feedback for Tesla. So recently, they one of the updates, the firmware updates, it supposedly will respond to not only human interaction, but it's more sophisticated. It's enhanced with what's already on the car via updates. And now, of course, they got Autopilot 2.0, and then if you have the facelifted Model S, you got the full self-driving and all the whole bit with it. But this is a Model S with the original, well, not original, because the original design was ugly, but it's the Model S before the March 2016 facelift, because this is a February car, I believe, February 16, and it was just before the facelift, which actually I like this one a lot better. So we will be testing the Autopilot stuff again, you know, walking in front of it, everything you can imagine, just to see what the car would do, because, you know, you got all this autonomous hardware coming out, and, you know, Autopilot capabilities is supposed to respond and do all kinds of different things. Full disclosure, do not try this at home. This is at my own risk, and we all know what we're going to do if the plan fails. We all have, you know, plans for it and everything. We're also going to be testing some foam dummies, so we got all kinds of different plans, but do not try this at home. Do not attempt to do this at all. Professional supervision and closed course. So yeah, there's quite a lot that I don't. It's just one of those things. You do it at your own risk, because I'm not advocating anybody to go jump in front of a Model S, because it's not a good idea. But yeah, we're going to be seeing what the car will do when that happens, because, I mean, for a bunch of different reasons, I'm not really going to go into it, but yeah, we're going to do that. And then, man, his Model S is clean. It's nice. Cool. Let's get to it. There's no cars. He has his cruise. It's Autopilot activated at 20 miles an hour. So I'm going to stop right in front of the car. It's going 20 miles an hour. I don't know if he's doing anything. It's stopping. It's stopping.
It stopped.
Okay. I was gonna say, let me ask you a question. If when it does stop, and what I could do is we'll do it again, and I'll get out of the way once it does stop.
See if it takes off. We'll
takes
save
off
that.
again.
Let's do a few more walking tests first.
Yeah.
And then we'll do that after we do. All right. The next one, do a walk across the street. Walk out in front of me.
Okay.
All right. Let me. You know what? Let me go forward. It'll be easier to turn around.
All right. It stopped. Holy shit. And if I walk back, it's going to keep going forward.
It's stalking you.
That's hilarious. Okay, it actually stopped.
2 successful tests.
Okay, that one actually...
They really got radar right in this release.
Yeah, that one actually was quite a sphincter puckering moment there. But, okay, so did it tell you anything on the display?
You know what? I was paying more attention to you.
Okay.
But even when you were standing in front of me, I did not see anything on my screen.
All right.
And you know what? I didn't even get collision warning.
Okay.
It just slowed me down. Like as if there's another car coming up in front of me.
Okay. Interesting.
This does coincide with the radar enhancements they were saying.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool. What should we do for the next one then? So we got 2 successful.
Let's, for this time, at least while we think of it, I could walk in front of the car and like pretend like, oh, I was on my phone, I didn't see you, and then walk back out of the way, see if it takes off again at 20 miles an hour. Like it never even happened.
Yeah, well, so when you get out of the way to see if the car will just resume what it was doing.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, just don't touch anything. Unless you got it doesn't work.
Yep.
Woo!
I said it waited a little longer on that one, but I don't think it was sure if you're going to cross or not.
Okay.
Because based on the radar, it's supposed to make a 3D picture based on the speed of the vehicle and what information it's getting back from the radar.
Okay.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it was. That one had me a little nervous though. Third test, well, second test was successful. The third test, I will be walking in front of it, and it'll hopefully stop, theoretically. And then I'll be walking out of it like it never even happened. Ba-dee-da-dee-da. And it stopped. Okay, it stopped. Let's see if I stand close enough to it. It just took right off with me maybe 5 or 6 inches away from my feet. Well, I did that on purpose last second. I didn't even think to do that, so.
Try faster, but I'm surprised I'm not getting collision warnings.
I am too. Now,
I mean, usually, even at that speed, I've gotten collision warnings.
What if it's on traffic aware cruise control?
Yep. Okay.
We'll try that. We'll try that once with me in the middle of the road.
Okay.
But the other.
Do a reposition.
Okay, that's fine. The other thing I actually did. I don't know if you noticed. I did it last minute.
Yeah.
Or last second decision. Just kind of stand near the car to see what the sensors will pick up.
Yeah.
It just took right off with maybe this close from my feet, or however maybe.
I was getting a little nervous. I wasn't sure if you were paying attention to that foot of yours.
Yeah, that's what I was nervous about too. But okay, so this time I'll stand in front of the car already.
Okay, traffic aware cruise control.
Yeah, with that on.
Now, technically, it should supposed to do the same thing it did on Autopilot.
All right.
So.
We'll find out.
All right.
Cool. 20 mile an hour.
Yep.
Okay. Third test was successful. And I'm actually surprised why they didn't put this stuff in the car before, only because it's the same car. They didn't change any sensors. They didn't upgrade any cameras or hardware. All they did was firmware updates. So I don't know how they enhanced something to do whatever, but it's picking me up as opposed to before. It was not picking me up when I was walking in front of the car and all that stuff. It was actually alerting him, as you saw in my other videos and his video the first time around. The car was screaming at him. All right, well, he's going for it, 20 miles an hour. Yeah, so what did it come up with?
It doesn't show anything on the screen.
So it looks as if you were just driving it normally. There's no lights coming on or anything else extra?
It looks like as if I came up behind another vehicle and it was just slowing down to a stop.
Okay.
But it didn't display anything on my screen.
Okay.
So it doesn't display you as a motorcycle or a car or a semi-truck. Well, hopefully it doesn't display you as a semi-truck.
Right.
And it doesn't display you as a pedestrian either.
Well, is it supposed to?
Not that I'm aware of, because at the moment they still don't claim that this works with humans or
Okay.
people.
All right.
Now I did have a bicyclist run out in front of me once on the old version, and it did stop or slammed on the brakes considerably hard with the collision alert. But that still could have been considered by the car as a motorcycle. I
Possibly,
noticed bicycles usually show up as motorcycles.
Gotcha.
but I've never seen a person actually show up on the display.
All right. We got to do something else. But there's a couple more tests. I'm feeling a little confident here. Maybe I shouldn't get to push my luck a little bit, but I'm wondering if maybe we should go 25.
Let's just do 30.
Okay, yeah.
5 isn't a big step between.
Yeah, what's 5 miles an hour between friends?
Yep.
What are we doing this time, though?
I think Autopilot.
Step right. Well, no, yeah, Autopilot for sure, but like, do I step out in front of the car last second, or what am I, or standing in front of the road?
Just run right across the road. See if it'll catch that.
Well, if I'm running and it doesn't stop.
I'll go right.
Okay. All right. Oh, man. All right. This one I'm a little nervous about. Run across the road. And holy crap, I'm a little nervous. He said he'll go right. If I go left. Oh, that one didn't do it, did it?
Actually, it did. But in interest of safety, I helped it.
Okay.
The car actually gave me collision alert.
All right.
And it also applied the brakes. But I also, just in interest of not killing one of my friends, I also, once the car hit the brakes, I also slammed on the brakes.
Okay, okay, this time let's do 22 miles an hour and do that same thing.
Yeah, maybe there's a certain speed that the collision alert comes on at. That was 30.
Okay.
Let's do 25, kind of chop it in half.
All right. Car braked. He did it, or no, the Model S did that. So, and then I passed the car completely.
100% success.
Okay, cool.
And I got the alert. No picture, but I got the collision warning.
Okay. Let me ask you this then.
I think maybe 25 miles an hour is the magic number for the actual audible alert.
So if we're going faster, it won't do it.
No, I mean, if we're going slower, it might not give the dee alert.
Right. So anything faster, it should do it.
Yeah. I really don't want to go much faster, because even then it's still... I mean, it's collision avoidance. It's not technically meant... They even flat out say it might not really stop and avoid a collision. But it will help lessen the collision. I'd rather not lessen the damage. I'd rather...
Right, of course.
And if we go... 30 was a little scary.
Right.
But I think if we go faster than that, I'm not comfortable.
I was gonna say I was gonna say 31, but what if we do 30 with me already in the road, like that, just that one test, see what it does.
We didn't do that one.
I don't even remember.
Yep. Okay. I just seen if my
All right, cool.
cam was still. I'm gonna have to go further down. I thought I could do it being closer.
It's all right. I'm gonna pop myself in the road. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and do it now. Just that way the car can register me. It should be slowing down. Yeah, that's definitely the car doing it. That's definitely the car. Definitely the car.
Okay, car coming. Successful.
All right.
So, I think this test, unlike our first test that we did at the beginning of summer, where we didn't have things quite planned out as well, it was a little more spur of the moment. But the tests we did do at the beginning of the summer under the firmware 7 flavors pretty much showed that pedestrian detection was a fail. Obviously, it did detect Mike when we did the summons earlier in the summer, but it didn't do it on autopilot or on track firmware cruise control. But it looks like this time...
Oh, well, I should mention, I don't mean to interrupt you,
Go
that
for it.
the first time we did it way back a couple months ago, it actually alerted you, but this time it didn't.
It
Except
did.
on one test.
Well, it did. When we did it earlier in the summer, we did it. The top speed we did it at was 18 for safety, to be safer. But I think both times it did alert us that there was going to be a collision. Whatever. This time, however, it didn't do the audible alert until we were at 25 miles an hour or faster. We did 20 mile an hour tests, we did a couple 25s, and a 30 and a 35 mile an hour test. And only on the faster ones did it actually give us the audible alert. It gave it a couple times, but it also didn't give the audible alert when he was already in the road. Only when Mike actually walked out. So it was more of the car wanted to alert us when something new was detected entering our driving path, not when there was something there already. When there was something there already, it just slowed down as if there was just any old object on the road, and decided to come to a complete stop. And then once Mike was out of the way, it actually resumed its merry old way as if nothing had happened. I was a little surprised that it didn't give us the audible warnings, especially considering that the car could not, and would not display anything on the screen. I don't know how to word it. I'm brain farting for a quick second here, but since nothing was displayed on the screen, not even a pedestrian or a motorcycle or anything. Now I have come up behind bicyclists on their bike, and then it has displayed that on the screen. Now prior to firmware 8, I had a incident where the autopilot camera was not properly functioning. Actually, I've had on 2 occasions. Now this was under firmware 7, since actually I haven't driven my car very much since getting 8 yet. One instance, my autopilot camera had some problems, and even though it was just the autopilot camera going out, the car would not function at all for collision alerts, anything, using just the radar. Likewise, previously this summer at the end of June 2016, my radar went out and the car couldn't function with the autopilot or anything using the camera alone. Apparently, once the car couldn't physically see an object, it wasn't tracking it. So what do you think? Do you think maybe with all Elon's improvements to the radar, using that more as a primary source probably is where it's able to detect more?
Sure hope so, right?
I sure hope so.
Yeah, whatever makes me not die.
No kidding.
But
and that was probably. I'm sorry, I gotta say it. I firmly hate firmware 8 with a passion. It was very rushed, but apparently there were some improvements on there, and this is one that I really give them a thumbs up on. The autopilot itself's been hit or miss since firmware 8. There's been a lot of improvements and there's been a lot of bugs. That's a completely separate video. I've already touched on all of them. But the enhancements that they have done with the radar is, remember, this isn't Autopilot 2.0. Autopilot 2.0 is the autopilot coming out with the new autonomous hardware before full autonomy software is released.
Doesn't that also have 2 cameras in there?
3.
Oh, wow.
3 on the front, on the side markers.
Oh, that's right.
There's in the glass. Don't worry, I'm working on making arrangements to see one of those.
Well, wasn't there also like 2 cameras? Instead
3.
of 1, there's 2. Oh, wow. They're there
Long
too?
range, short range, and wide angle.
I didn't even know that.
Oh, yeah. But anyways, back to the radar, because the new autonomous cars are using the same radar enhancement that the autopilot cars are. And due to the software processing that they've apparently worked out with Bosch, who's the supplier of the radar equipment, has increased the number of objects the radar can track by 30-fold. Now, prior, I could visually, now we don't know exactly how many the car is detecting at any one point without having some sort of backdoor access, so it looks like I might have to give Jason Hughes a call. He's the one that hacked his Model S and also upgraded his wife's car from a classic to an autopilot car. Was very detailed. But at least visually, I have noticed previously on firmware 7 that the car was able to display 5 separate vehicles on the road at one time. I saw a couple motorcycles and 3 cars at the same time. So that shows me the car was able to detect, place, and track 5 objects. So at the very least, if it was a 30-fold increase, that means at the very least the car should be able to track 30 objects now, right?
You hope so.
And then with their radar trickery of what I call X-ray radar, it's also able to see around objects or underneath other vehicles to see another extra car length in front of you. So it looks like all these enhancements together have somehow improved autopilot or the radar detection enough where it can now detect a human. I'm really glad for that.
What are your thoughts on Tesla not doing that originally? Like, because for the first test we did a couple months ago, the car alerted you, but it didn't make any effort whatsoever to stop, to avoid a collision. But all of a sudden now the update.
Apparently somehow the car could detect you, but maybe not with enough assurance to make a decision. So I think maybe back then it was programmed like that to do the alert, because you should be paying attention with your hands on the wheel anyways.
Oh,
of course. And I think it was like that in an effort to cut down on false positives. I think it was about midsummer was when Elon did the tweet saying that he was working with Bosch, and his team was working with Bosch to see what kind of enhancements they could do software-wise in processing of the radar being used, and without having to change the hardware at all. And this is where Tesla vehicles really shine. Is without changing the hardware at all, they were able to do a very significant update to the autopilot system and the radar processing to be able to detect more objects. And it's been very impressive on what it's been able to detect, especially in stop and go driving, detecting maybe the person in front of you is not paying attention and they forget to hit the brakes and they smash into the car in front of them. Well, if your car is following the person in front of you, previously you'd end up maybe getting too close and almost hitting the car in front of you. Well, this way, the radar can bounce underneath those vehicles and detect, two cars ahead of me, they're already slamming on their brakes. Well, maybe I should slow down to a safe speed just in case.
And a safe following distance.
And a safer following distance. So.
And speaking of, when you were talking about how they, without actually changing hardware in the vehicle, they just did simple firmware reprogram or update and all that stuff.
I wouldn't say simple, but...
I
guess it was...
Instead of ripping the car up and changing things, they made a firmware update to do, obviously, now it detects, it always detected me, but now it actually makes an effort. Yeah. I wonder, because your video with 500,000 views of trying to run into me, I wonder if some people up high up at Tesla saw that and they probably used your video and possibly
and yours.
mine.
I mean, we both did it from different viewpoints.
Yeah, so I wonder if they took our videos and says, we
got to fix that. Because I think, what was it, Volkswagen already had pedestrian detection, was it? No, Volvo.
Yeah, I think
Volvo.
so. I think it was Volvo.
So yeah, that'd be awesome if they did. If they did, they've done some really significant improvements, and I'm hoping now. Elon has already mentioned that existing autopilot cars, it's not feasible. Of course, just like the classic cars, it is possible, but not feasible cost-wise. How did Elon put it? The cost delta is too high to upgrade an autopilot car to one of the autonomous hardware cars. However, with all this extra processing, now even though there's no additional cameras on these cars, maybe one of the big changes they made also was the sonar on the autonomous cars, which is the hardware currently being produced for all the Tesla vehicles, both S, X, and 3. I should have said X3 and S.
All right.
You know what I'm trying to say.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the sonar on those cars actually has a distance approximately twice as much as the autopilot cars. So when we were doing our summons test, it started steering around Mike approximately 4 feet from him. That is the approximate limitation of the existing sonar. Maybe it's possible, just by popping out the little sonar pucks, they might actually be able to give us the 8-foot distance as an upgrade option down the line, and then just a software update to maybe improve that enough where it might be able to navigate better on driveways, close quarters, maybe even parking lots a little bit, to give that automatic parking feature that Elon talked about way back in the original press release event for the dual motor cars and autopilot event. So that's just a thought. And that would actually be something pretty easy to do. Existing wiring would be able to remain the same. You're just replacing to a sonar puck that has greater sensitivity and higher transmit power for that ultrasonic ping.
And I would agree with that, because you would think, because if it's just, a sensor, obviously it would have a set cost per Tesla for customers and stuff like that. But I mean, I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, at one point, well, even still, older Model S's were just a tech package before they didn't have like parking sensors, and then they added that in. It was a $500 option.
Yeah.
They were able to retrofit that. Now, of course,
$6,000 option for
to say it does cost more than $500.
But there was no wiring in place for those, and you needed new bumpers, and they had to fish wiring through the frame.
Right.
And they actually had to change out. They had to change out the center unit for it too. It was not compatible.
Yeah, they did quite a lot of changes, but so you would think if they are able to do that, they can change a simple sensor.
The cost change for the autonomous cars, the big cost, is the cameras, because of the additional cameras. There's still the 12 sonar, the 1 radar in the front, but now they have cameras in the side markers. There's cameras up here. I don't even know if you guys, you can see me. There's cameras up here. There's 3 on the front. You got some in the back. You got them all around the car. And on top of that, they're now using NVIDIA's new, what was it, AI2 or something? I can't remember the exact serial or code name for it. But they're using NVIDIA's new processing for artificial or autonomous driving. And apparently it has 40 times the computing power of the existing Tegra 3 systems that are in the cars right now. Now, there is no center console or computer change between Classic and the Autopilot cars. They're actually using the same processing power as the Classic cars. The only thing they really did change was increase the resolution of the dash screen. So that's why I think it might be a potential. Old classic Mercedes-Benz. Oh, loud too. That's why I think potentially just replacing some sonar pucks might be able to add more functionality, or at the very least maybe just a little more safety. That'd be something I'd maybe spring for. A couple $100 just to replace some sonar pucks and a firmware update.
I'll bet you a bunch of Tesla owners will be all over that, especially because.
Yep.
Why not?
Darn right. So I guess that concludes our tests for today. Until we figure out the next way to try and kill Mike.
I just gotta go change my pants real quick.
Yeah. And at least we didn't have to commit vehicular manslaughter today.
Oh yeah. At least this time.
The hole's already dug in the backyard. So I guess I'll decamify my car. You can change your undies, and let's call it a day. Grab a beer.
Oh yeah.
We should have did the beer first.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe would have eased the tension a little bit.
Yeah, no kidding.